Why play Zoe Support? Well, she brings insane burst damage. Her poke is also brilliant, she has great single target lockdown, and she scales incredibly well. However, she is weaker in the laning phase, and she is incredibly skill shot reliant. Zoe's passive is after using an ability, her next attack is empowered to deal bonus damage. Zoe's Q is a straight line skill shot which deals damage to the target hit and enemies around them. However, if it doesn't hit an enemy, it lingers in the air. The Q can then be recast to fire it quickly in a new direction, and the longer this flies, the more damage it deals, and it will keep on flying as long as it's still within 800 units of Zoe. Zoe's W has a passive, where, when she uses this ability or her own summoner spell, she gains a burst of movement speed and summons 3 bolts that fire at nearby enemies. Whenever an enemy champion uses a summoner spell or item active, they drop the spell shard on the floor. Minions will also sometimes spawn with these. Zoe can pick these up to have a one-time use of that spell. Zoe's E is a straight line skill shot, and the range of this can be extended if used over terrain. Upon hitting an enemy, it deals damage to them and causes them to become drowsy, where they'll fall asleep after a short amount of time. While asleep, they lose a lot of magic resist, and any damage will wake them up from the sleep, dealing bonus true damage. However, if this doesn't hit an enemy, it instead leaves a circle on the floor which will apply the effects to the first enemy that walks over. Zoe's ultimate causes her to blink in a direction for a short amount of time before blinking back. This is an auto attack reset, however it's usually just used to extend the range of her Q. For combos, your massive burst combo is to land your E and then throw Q backwards. Reactivate Q and use ultimate to extend the range for massive damage, and while ulting, make sure you're close enough to land your empowered attack. For matchups, Zoe is great into squishier supports, easily one-shotting them as the game goes on, and she can struggle into champions with great engage who want to get onto her. For runes, take this. Dark Harvest makes your one-shots even better as the game progresses. For build order, start World Atlas and Pot into Eludens and Tier 2 boots. After this, a Storm Surge and Shadow Flame are amazing items for burst damage champions before finishing your builds with any of these as needed. For skill order, start Q then E then W before maxing Q then E then W, taking ult whenever you can. For summoner spells, take Flash and Ignite, you want all the damage. For synergies, she is great with longer range carries who can provide even more burst damage. Starting the laning phase, this isn't where Zoe's at her strongest. However, you can still be incredibly annoying and have access to great trades. As Q has 2 activations, it can proc your passive twice. So, double passive and landing Q from level 1 is a great amount of damage. Otherwise, you want to focus on landing your E and then explode them with your massive Q hit. Play in a tricky way where you can mix up between hiding behind terrain or simply using E straight at their face. Landing a single one of these into your Q will quickly remove half their health, and when you get ult, your full combo's even better. Enter in the mid game, take tower and rotate mid. With a few items behind you, this is the point in the game where you can catch someone out and one-shot them. Entering late game teamfights, poke with Q and try and land a full combo before the fight even starts. Landing an E onto a carry will basically threaten the kill with your massive damage on the Q. Otherwise, when the fight starts, play as the backline mage. Fighting behind terrain for Zoe is amazing, as your abilities are enhanced and most other champions will struggle.